Do you want to tell me a little bit about what the militia life was like?
Well, okay. Well, one thing to keep in mind is that in the 1740s, when this village was settled, they called them plantations,
Mm-hmm.
but they were just agricultural villages. And the whole point was so that if you wanted land, the only way to get land was to go to the outskirts because in the regular villages, say down in Massachusetts or so, there would always be a minimum size that a farm could be sustainable. So if the owner died, passed away, it went to the eldest son. Anybody else had to do their own hunting to find a place to live because the farm had to be kept intact. So that's why there was a constant expansion up the river. Now, this is called No.4 because from the Massachusetts line, there were 4 settlements set up. The first one was in Cheshire. That was over by the Connecticut River. They were all along the Connecticut River because that was the main way to get around. So when you went to the second one, which was in Westmoreland, the third one was in Walpole, and this was the fourth. Now, none of the others had a fortification. They were just villages. But because this was at the end of the line, there was nothing north of here but potentially hostile territory. They felt that they really needed a way to protect the villagers if there was hostile action coming down the river. So they got together, raised the money, moved some of the houses in, and then attached them all together so that on between the palisade and in here, there was solid walls. All of the shutters locked, closed and locked, and you could fire out through gun ports. So basically, the way it was laid out is that the houses on the ends had a complete line of fire, unobstructed, to protect each other. And again, they would fire through the gun ports that you see to protect themselves. Now, they were also, I think I already mentioned that every able-bodied male had to obtain their own firearm. Now, a lot of them brought them with them as they came up from Massachusetts. Others had to purchase one either through the trading post, and they could order it, and it would be shipped up the river. So,
How much would it be in today's money for a firearm?
it's hard to say because they were all different. So, some were longer than others. This is called a fowling piece, and it was designed to be used for hunting birds or squirrels, small game, deer, You could hunt just about anything with it. Now this is a 62 caliber, fires a round ball, and also can be loaded to fire small shot, like bird shot, depending what you were using. And for militia, you would be using the 62 caliber round ball. Their cartridges would be made up of paper. The ball would be down in the bottom. The gunpowder would be set on top of the ball, and then the rest folded up and twisted off. So when you went to load this, you would pull out your cartridge, bite the top off, and put a little bit of powder in the pan. See, this is called a pan. Put a little bit of powder in there. Close the pan. Cast about. Pour the rest of the powder down. And when you were all primed and loaded, you would shoulder your firelock. Now this tells everyone in your squad that you're primed and loaded and ready to go. When you get the command from the squad to make ready, you bring the gun up, come to full cock position, present, and fire, at which point you would pull the trigger. This is called a hammer stall, and its whole purpose is to prevent you from accidentally slipping and having the flint fire into a primed and loaded gun. So if I hit anything here, it just hits the lead. The leather. So that's basically how it's set up. Now what I can do...
How long would a trained militia member take to reload around or load around?
A trained British soldier would be expected, starting with a loaded gun, to fire, prime and load, fire, prime and load, fire, prime and load, fire, 4 times in 1 minute. But that's because he was a professional soldier. They drilled all day long. This, you'd probably get about 2 shots a minute. So again, the other thing, because this is for real, is you have to know that the weapon is safe. And there's no way to tell if this is loaded or not. So, there is a method that is used. Take out the ramrod, turn it over, shorten it, put it in the barrel. Now, if I let this go and it's unloaded, it will go right down, hit the breech, and bounce. So I know that this is not loaded. Otherwise, it would just go down and thud, and I'd know that it was loaded. And, you know, handle it accordingly. So I'm going to replace this because I'm going to need it. Put it back down in the pipes. The next thing I'm going to do is open to the half-cocked position, pull the trigger. Nothing should happen because you don't want it to go off half-cocked. And we still use that term now in the sense of going off before you've done all of the proper procedures. So they still call it going off half-cocked, unprepared, not ready. So we made sure that it is working properly. The lock is good. The spark is throwing a good spark. And I'll close it. And you'll be able to see the spark.
Yeah.
So
Shade made a big difference.
it made a big difference.